Good afternoon, everyone. How do you do? It's great to see you all here, whether you're joining us in person or tuning in online. Thank you for your time to be part of this conversation. My name is Ken, your Vice President of Administration from Associated Student Council of Ocean Campus, and I'll be your moderator for today's town hall. For those who may be new, ASCO stands for the Associated Student Council of Ocean Campus. We are your elected representatives here to advocate for you, amplify your voices, and work toward meaningful changes. Our goal here is simple, to make sure your concerns just don't stay concerns, they turn into action. Today's town hall is all about connection and transparency. We want to keep you informed about what we've been working on, share updates on key initiatives, and most importantly, hear directly from you. This is your space to ask questions, voice concerns, and collaborate with us to shape the future of our campus. So here's how today will go. First, we'll start with a quick update on what ASCO has been working on. Then we'll move into our panel discussion with our lovely panelists to my right, where we'll address both pre-submitted and live questions. Later on, we'll open up the floor for an open mic session. So if there's something on your mind that has not been addressed or covered, stick around. And today's event is structured in two key segments. First, we'll provide you with updates on ASCO's recent progress. Following that, our panelists will address both pre-submitted and live questions. In the second half, we'll open the floor for an open mic session, your chance to share your thoughts, propose ideas, and bring attention to issues that matter to you. And needless to say, no good discussion happens on an empty stomach. So at 12:50 p.m., we'll take a short break and enjoy some pizza, because fueling great ideas requires great food. And here's a quick look at our agenda. From now until around 12:10, we'll welcome you and give you a brief overview of the event, which is what I'm doing right now. And from 12:10 until 12:20 p.m., we'll have our updates from ASCO officers, also known as vice presidents. Going forward, we'll have 30 minutes from 12:20 to 12:50 dedicated to Q&A session with our panelists here. And then we'll have 10 minutes of snack break. Moving on, we'll have another 30 minutes of live questions and wrapping up with an open mic session to the general audience here as well as online. We encourage everyone, both in person and online, to actively engage, ask questions, and share feedback. The space is yours, and we're here to ensure your voices are heard. And without further ado, let me turn it over to our lovely panelists here. And Malinali, starting with you, let's have an introduction.
Well, good afternoon. Saludos, everyone here in attendance and watching us via YouTube. My name is Malinali Villalobos, or Malinali. My pronouns are él, he, him, and his, and I'm very excited to be here. I am a student here at City College of San Francisco. Earned an associate degree in ethnic studies, Latin American studies, Latinx studies, and currently working on a degree in associated studies for labor and community studies. I'm a student, like I mentioned. I'm very passionate about City College, and that's why I'm here representing associated students, one of the student leaders at City College of San Francisco. And I'm here to actually engage with everybody that submitted a question and everybody watching us at YouTube, and we'll have the opportunity to submit questions there. And just here to have a conversation with everybody here. Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
And turning it over to our next panelist, Jenny.
Hello, everyone. Am I looking at the camera in the middle?
Yeah.
Sorry. Hi, everyone. My name is Jenny Tat. I'm the president of the Associated Student Council of Ocean Campus. And I, like everybody in the panel right here, I'm a student, and my major is in library information technology. And I go with the pronoun she, her, but anything you can call me. My friends call me Jenny. You can call me that too. So I am very passionate about trying to make things on campus lively and enrich the experience of students on campus. So that's why I run for the role of president and luckily got elected. And today we are here to try our best to address some of the issues that's currently on campus and try to share our insights on how we can advocate and together to amplify our voice to the best possibility. So that would be all from me. Thank you for having us.
Thank you, panelists. Thank you, Malinali. Thank you, Jenny, for sharing. And now it's time for quick updates from ASCO officers. So let me pass the floor to one of our lovely VPs. Emily, please, if you could come up and do the report.
Yes, I can guess.
Yeah, introduce yourself and you're good to go.
Hi, my name is Emily Law, and I'm your Vice President of Public Relations on the Associated Student Council of Ocean. And I'm really excited to be sharing a couple updates from the Public Relations Committee today with you all. Our first one is we have conducted monthly PR tabling events on Ram Plaza every month, and we so far have done 5, and we're excited to be passing this tradition on to the next PR committee. Our next achievement has been increasing profile activity by 163% on Instagram with 24,000 views. So we've increased engagement by a lot, and we are hoping to see a lot more improvement as we want to further connect with the student body. Our third accomplishment has been increasing our engagement on social media through flyers and reels. I'm hoping that you all have seen our trendy videos brought to you by our VP of Campus Enrichment, Sherry Young, and her amazing work in the reels. And we've been doing our best to try and connect with you all through our video content. And our last accomplishment has been conducting weekly classroom visits where we have shared upcoming events and opportunities for the students to hear and learn about. And we are excited to be passing on all of our accomplishments and new traditions to the next Public Relations Committee. And I'm very thankful to my team and our president and our advisor for all the amazing guidance they provided us. And I'm very thankful to have served as your Vice President of Public Relations this semester. And I'm excited for the next semester, so thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Emily Wada and I'm the Vice Chair of Rules and Regulation. My committee has been hard at work amending the Ocean Code to ensure ASCO operates with higher clarity, effectiveness, and fairness. Thank you. In the back, we have proposed Ocean Code's amendments. You can scan the QR code to see. These updates strengthen how we advocate for you and make real change on campus. We've also been instrumental in orchestrating this town hall, reinforcing our commitment to transparency and student voice. Looking ahead, the ASCO elections are coming up, offering you the chance to shape the next generation of student leadership, whether by voting, running, or staying engaged. Your participation is what drives change. I'm also a member of the Finance Committee, and this semester we began the process of drafting the fiscal year 2025 budget to support resource centers, ASCO, and clubs. In addition, we have worked to solicit student feedback on ASCO contract vending machines to increase visibility and efficiency. Lastly, we are planning a leadership conference in April for students to learn more about leadership and connect with others. Thank you.
Drill the point home, we have elections coming up for Associated Student Council of Ocean Campus, and this is your very chance to shape the next generation of student participation and leadership, whether by voting, running, or staying engaged. And your participation is what really drives changes here on campus. So please stay tuned. And moving on, thank you to all our VPs for your insightful updates. It's always great to see the progress being made and the work being done on behalf of students. With that, we are moving into one of our most important segments of today's town hall, our panel Q&A session. We have gathered some pre-submitted questions from students, and we'll start by addressing those first. And panelists, feel free to take turns answering. Once we have gone through the pre-submitted questions, we'll open the floor for live questions, both from our in-person audience and those tuning in online. So if something comes to mind while we go through these, get ready to jump in. And whenever you're ready, we'll start out with questions concerning this Ocean campus, and further go on to address questions district-wide. For now, the one question that might impact everyone on this campus, especially here on this campus, is the question around ICC, Interclub Council, which oversees all the associated student clubs. So the question is, right now the ICC requires club officers to attend Ocean campus classes. We would like to petition that for club recognition of a club on a different campus, this requirement be waived. Our club is on John Adams campus, and many of our AS students have transfer units from other accredited colleges that we accept for graduation. Doing this would enable more students to get involved in our club as officers. Malinali or Jenny, please feel free to jump in with your insights and updates.
Okay, this is my suggestions. How about I share what I know, and then with you as a more experienced leader, you can back me up and then share your. Is that okay?
I'll share
Yes.
after you.
All right. So for ICC in particular, they have their own guidelines and policies. So if students in particular before I continue with my answer, I just want to say that clubs are very vital for our campus, especially on Ocean campus, and their voice very important for us. So if they have something that they want to say, they will need to address that specifically at the ICC meeting. And for changing any policy inside the guidelines of ICC, they need to come to the meeting of ICC and raise the issues. And I believe that if anything that can be changed, that would be coming from the ICC, and they can do that during the ICC. And ICC have the power to do that within ICC themselves internally. That's what I believe. And I think this can be done through discussions in ICC meeting. And yeah, if you want to add more, and then.
Yeah, so my scope, before I answer, I do want to give a little background of my role here as a student leader. I'm currently serving as Associate Student Chancellor. And so my role is tied in with district-wide and students throughout the whole district here at Ocean Campus and our 5 other centers, which is downtown, John Adams, Evans, Chinatown North Beach, and Mission Center. And so that's my focus is district-wide, making sure there's district-wide representation through all our processes. And so as far as this interclub council or question about clubs at a specific location and with specific guidelines, I think it's best suited when students are able to feel comfortable in creating spaces within their campuses. So for instance, the question was creating a club or having a club be part of the John Adams space, but a lot of the students there are not taking classes at Ocean, I believe, right? And so one thing that we're doing, or one thing that some of the councils are doing, and just so you all know, at all centers, there's representation there by associated students. So they have presidents, vice presidents, and so forth, which are elected positions done by students within those spaces. So just a quick example, the downtown center has associated students there that they are created some guidelines for their clubs that are specific to their communities, right? So that way they don't have to come to the Ocean campus to follow guidelines that are posed by, that are structured by Ocean, but can be centered within that space downtown. So that way they have that accessibility there, the proximity there, and they're able to address issues and concerns then and there. What happens is that we might not have all the resources available for these councils, such as the Ocean campus, especially when it comes to funding, right? So making sure that we find a solution where if there's a club at a particular center, within the district, they're able to start the club, start the space with as little as barriers and red tape that we could have on them. Because what we want to do is we want to make sure that the community is built, the work is being done, and that they could carry this on to the next level of their education, or whether, I heard that some students are transferring or are coming from different campuses or colleges and universities, and they're able to take that into their new spaces, right? So yes, so making sure that we create something for them as far as the feasibility to have clubs at particular campuses without having to have all the structure come in through the Ocean campus.
So would you suggest that they can sort of draft resolutions and then bring that to the ICC meeting for a discussion? And then, because I'm trying to understand the process, that they can be a possible process for them to be able to make changes possible?
Yeah, I think, a resolution could be a way, but I think working with the councils, the Associated Student Councils, within that center or within
Okay.
that campus, because their student representatives there, they should be able to, have the connections already, whether it be with the dean support of the center or faculty within that space, or even classified folks there. And so going to the Associated Student Council at that center and see if they could create some bylaws or some codes that has something to do, and it mirrors something that has the ASCO has, but at that particular campus. So I don't feel that a resolution needs to take place. It's just the collaboration work with the Associated students there, so that way they are able to work within that space.
So I just trying to share one of the experience that I have for clubs that may be affected by the situations, that sometimes if you see the issues, it will be best to collect testimonials or evidence and then bring that to your respective Associated Student Council and share the information. And hopefully you can discuss things out. And if that cannot be enough, you can go ahead and draft a resolutions and see. Because I believe the students who run for student governments, they are there to support the students, and they will try their best to see if there is any changes that they can make within their council. And I know that the people who are the leader in that council will for sure raise the issues up to the executive council leaders, if that will be the case, and then there will be more further discussions from there. But I really appreciate the question submitted to us.
Thanks for breaking it down to the low-level details, Student Chancellor and President Thatch, for adding on to that. I hope that clarifies your concern. And also, thank you for suggesting the steps forward. Moving on to the next question, we have another question concerning our student council operation, which is what are the best ways for the AS to communicate important information to students? If you could, please take then answering the question as you may.
You can go for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as far as, and this doesn't just go with just particular councils, just overall Associated students. The work that we do, like it was just mentioned in the reports by the vice presidents, there's a lot of work happening within Ocean Campus and with a lot of our councils. So we know that we're doing a lot of work. We want to make sure that that information is sent out to students, right? So as students, we only build on our mailing list as students are being involved, or they want to be part of clubs, or they want to be part of committees and councils. That's as far as our I guess audience goes. But then we have to have the support from student affairs when we have to have messages going out. So when this happens, we're able to send messages to all students in the district. So that way students that maybe are completely online, that don't have a geographical location where they're connected to, they're able to get these messages, right? That's one way to do it. Also, along with that is having all of information that what we're working on our website, institutionalized, because that is one place where we know there's going to be traffic coming in, our ccsf.edu webpage. And then within this space, having our pages that we have already for associated students, but having some kind of rotation on our banner system where, this is what's happening with students. These are the campuses that are doing work regarding to, and it all depends on what we're doing, right? And so these are the more mediums that we have to send the message, the better the students have the opportunity to receive that message. Social media, emails. We have our CCSF official app. We could also do that there. And so making sure that the work that we're doing is shared out there. And at the same time, we want to make sure that we get the input from students, right? Because unfortunately, we're not able to visit every single student in the district, but we have to be able to send the message and send how we're able to be contacted, whether it be by email, whether it be by office hours, or just by logging into the website and having a button where you could click on connecting with your student representatives. That's one of many ways to be able to share with students district-wide.
So thank you, Student Chancellor Malinari, to share the many ways of the communications coming from the Executive Council leaders. For Ocean in particular, we are actually having multiple channels to make sure that we can we try our best to communicate with the student bodies within the Ocean campus. But as you may know, that information flows to you a lot, every day, every second. But if you may take a second to pause and look at some of the channels we provide, you may be able to catch us on some of the communications that we've been sending out. We have Instagram, which has been active for several years now, and we have more than 1,000 followers. We also sent out newsletters on CD notes. If you are our students, especially CCSF student, your email address gonna be in the mailing list for the CD notes, and we have the newsletter there. And I know that the PR committee from Oceans has been doing great work. They doing class visits to share about informations that we've been doing to the students. Me, myself, I actually signed up for one of the class visit sections for PR, and I promote activities from our student government activities to the student. And when we have big events like Unity Day, which just happened several weeks ago, I actually goes to classroom on the MUB building. I formerly know it MUB building, but now the new name is Harry Bridge building, to share about Unity Day activity. And of course, we also email to student leaders so that they can share to their constituent groups. We also have two biggest committees that involve clubs and resource centers. And we usually share information with those committees so that the vice president can share information down to the people who attend those meetings. So I think why we're trying our best to communicate with the student body, we will be very much grateful and appreciate that you can tune into one of the channels that we have. For example, follow our Instagram, check the city notes to see our newsletters, or you can join clubs or be a member of the resource center so that you can be invited to attend one of our meetings so that you can be more informed of what we are doing and what we are going to do next. And I think for future outlook, we are considering to have more information, especially formal information like the elections, to be shared on Canvas. Is it Canvas or Canva? Canvas, right? So that when you tune in to check your learning material, you should be able to see important information. And we are also thinking of creating a website, but that idea has been put aside because it needs to meet with a lot of ADA compliance for the people. But those are the things that we are looking at for the future. But I already shared with you some of the information that we have right now so that you can quickly follow and do it immediately if you can. But thank you for the questions.
Thank you for your tangible steps in publicizing the information, making sure the communication gets the point across. Just to build on that a little bit, I am the VP of Rules and Regulations, which means I'm sort of in charge of being in compliance with Brown Act or Sunshine Ordinance, whichever comes first in order of importance. I publicize the meetings happening at least 72 hours in advance by posting them on the bulletin outside the student union or sharing them through the email list that we already have. But then we still welcome any or every sort of feedback on how we can do a better job publicizing those information. So please, by any means, please show up at our meeting, email us through any channel, let us know how we can do better. And with that in mind, let me move into the...
Before you go on to the next question.
Yes.
I think I also, like, when we started, I wanted to make sure that we have that conversation back and forth. And so I know we're going to get to the Q&A at the end. So if you have any ideas here in person or via live stream and that you would like to share on how to better communicate with you all,
Yes.
We'll take them. We'll
Yes.
definitely take them. So that way you don't have to wait for something.
That's great.
How are you all speaking? There is comment on the live stream.
Are there comments on live stream?
There is a comment on live stream.
Oh, that's great.
Would you guys be able to answer them, or would you guys like to wait until we get to the next segment, which is where we have dedicated taking the questions.
Wait.
Now we can go through all the pre-submitted questions.
It's specific to the question that was just raised. So I suggest that we can hear from that student's feedback.
I would want to take it now, but it's up to y'all.
Yeah. If we can listen to
I
students, yeah.
believe that will be appropriate at this time and point, now that we're on this topic anyways. Starting out with one of the questions on the YouTube Live from Angelica Campos. We need more person-to-person channels. Showing up in our resource centers and at events where student council's presence is needed. We would love to hear more of Ocean's council's responses to these questions. If you could get into that, President Thatch.
Is that specifically for Ocean Council?
Yes.
Yes.
Ocean's
Okay. So need more presence of ASCO.
At the resource centers and the events that they put together.
Okay. I think I really like the questions though. Within the limitations, within my capacity, I try my best to be present at the prize lunch at QRC. And recently, I was able to help up with the setting up and tabling for ASCO as one of the family resource fair hosted by the FRC Family Resource Centers. I also try to encourage my members at Ocean to be able to go and be present at events of resource centers to show our support. However, I do acknowledge there was certain expectations that we did not meet. For example, we couldn't be able to have more people to go to every event, or at least a lot of most of the big events from the resource centers. So I think that one of the best way for now, or what we can do immediately right now, is to communicate with the vice presidents of RCPU, the vice president of resource centers, so that they can build on the list of the event calendars for resource centers, and then share with the council members. I don't think we have one at the moment, so that's why we are receiving information bit by bit. It's very spontaneous. On a Monday, I receive a text. We have an event. Are you able to come and join? I would love to receive the information a little bit early so that I can come, or maybe I can work on my schedule that I can come. So I think if if I think of that for myself, I think that would be the same thinking process for other members in the council. So I think that what we can do for Ocean Council at this moment is to push to have that calendar set up so that resource centers can effectively put their event on the calendar. And then when the next council comes, because we only right now only have 2 months left in our terms, we try our best to attend meetings, attend events from resource centers. But then if we have that calendar in place, we can be more informed of what is going on, and then that information will be shared evenly with the members in the council, and then they can join more, or at least they know how they can come to support. For me, my experience with the Family Resource Fair was that I know when I come from 9 a.m., I need to set up from A, B, C, D, something like that, which I did a week before the event start. So I have more time to plan my schedule and then try my best to alter other plans around. So right now, I understand the needs. I will try to talk to the council so that they can save more time to attend the meetings and events of resource centers or clubs if possible. And we will push to have a calendar so that every resource center's events or even a CCS Ocean Council events can be on that calendar so that everybody will be informed of what is going on, because we have a big campus in Ocean. Ocean basically the biggest campus, and we have a lot of events going on every day. I believe right now one of the resource centers is having one event right now, which I wanted to go. So I hope that if we can have that calendar, it was sort of helping us in a very long way, in my opinion. What about you?
Yes. Before joining Associated Students, my work has always been with resource centers, from Voices of Immigrants Demonstrating Achievement to Students Supporting Students, to VASA, which focuses on the Pacific Islander community, to working as a family advocate for a family resource center. So I know the importance and the critical work that the resource centers are doing. So my action has been to attend as many events as possible throughout the district. And when I attend events, I want to make sure that I'm there to support for that very moment that I'm there. So I make it a point to help with setup. And if I'm not there for setup, help out with taking down. Because once the event happens, it's all a motion, but getting there or making sure that everything is back to order is very important as well. So I do feel that it's critical for us to visit resource center events, and not just the events, just the spaces in itself, because this is where you have the day-to-day interaction with students. I myself and the Executive Council leadership team, we don't have offices, but we don't need offices because we go to where the students are at. And one of the biggest platforms, or one of our biggest community buildings, have been through working with the resource centers throughout the different campuses. We do have a lot of resources here at Ocean Campus, so we do have many more resource centers, but we do have resource centers throughout the campus throughout the district that I myself and the Executive Council leadership team, such as our student trustee Heather Brand and our student vice chancellor Amelia Kong have been participating district-wide, just to make sure that we have the support there, whether it be something from Know Your Rights informational session, or even there to just build community. That it's very important to have that presence as much as possible, not only through one particular campus, but throughout the whole district.
Thank you for your input. That really drove the point home. From Angelica again, to echo one of the points that you have shared, attendance at the events that resource centers put together will be really phenomenal. We are funded by associated students and need the leaders to show up for our community. So from here on out, I hope the message is communicated loud and clear. And it's only fair that we show up at the community events that we have funded or participated, or both. We have another question coming in from none other than student trustee Heather Brand. This question, I believe, is wide enough to cover all the scopes, yet deep enough to really invoke really thoughtful responses. So the question is, how will the Associated Student Council of Ocean Campus work to be more inclusive and build belonging and receptive of feedback from students who do not feel represented and or feel actively overlooked?
That's a very good question.
Indeed, it is.
Well, would you like to start?
Go ahead, start.
Okay, if you don't mind, can you repeat the question again? I feel
With
a little
pleasure.
bit nervous.
How will the Associated Student Council of Ocean Campus work to be more inclusive, build belonging, and receptive of feedback from students who do not feel represented and or feel actively overlooked?
So right now what I have in mind is we usually, before our meetings, we have a section called land acknowledgement, where we did that to acknowledge the indigenous territories that we are residing and working on. So I believe the Ocean Council is trying the best to be more receptive of feedbacks, as well as to be more inclusive in terms of representing voices and respecting differences. However, I do acknowledge that we may not do enough to show that we have that intentions, but it wasn't completely out there in the actions. So if we talk about ways that we can be more of being inclusive and receptive of feedbacks, I think one of the ways we can enhance that is through putting one of the statements about inclusivity and respect differences. That can be in the discussion for the council, because I cannot make decisions for themselves, except that need to be made by the group. And the second ways I'm thinking of is to have more trainings, because I think trainings are important. You may know that a lot of the members on Ocean Council, they are new to the positions. They are first-time student leaders. So a lot of things need to be learned. There will be errors and there will be trials. So I think trainings are very helpful. And I think more sections on sharing, discussions. It doesn't have to be live like this, because it's quite nervous to me. So it can be a closed group, a focus group, sharing about how we can be more inclusive and respectful towards each other, and the language that we need to use during formal setting like meetings, or when we communicate with other clubs or resource centers. I think what right now have been perceived to be us or the Ocean Council is not on the side of inclusive or respect differences, because maybe we have different expectations. If we can sit down and then, of course, I think it's very important to have somebody who are well respected and reliable to be able to facilitate those discussions so that the results come out from those discussions can be more fruitful and than we want it to be. Because myself, I have to educate myself every day because I do, the language that I use is, English is not my first language. I came here just 1.5 years ago from a far away country from Vietnam. So I have to learn everything step by steps, including the languages that I need to use. So I think it's very important to have those discussions so that we know certain phrases, certain terms that we need to use in the meeting so that we can make sure we don't offend anyone, and also try our best to keep the tone neutral and respectful towards everyone. Myself, I'm trying my best to practice this attentive listening, as well as trying to reach out to each individual in the council to check in to say, is there anything else that I can support you, or is there anything that you want to correct me that next time when I share or I address you will be in the proper way that you want. When I go to events organized by resource centers or by even the members from the council, I always say, okay, what can I do to make the events the best events that you want it to be? So I think we can start with those approach. And I think also it's very important to have a very appropriate mindset. I'm very much support student with student. I'm very much against student. I don't support student against student. I think everybody here is trying their best to learn with the capacity that they have, with the limited time that they have. So I think with me trying to be more inclusive and educate myself every day, I hope it can sort of give an example. I hope that they can see that as an example to be more mindful of what they want to say, and also more mindful in the way that they engage with the student body, with the community that they are trying to serve. I think that's what I have to say. But I may have more material after listening to the student chancellor.
Well, thank you for sharing. I think one of the things that you mentioned on training, I feel that it's a very important that we do have training as student leaders stepping into the role, especially if it's your first time being in a student leadership role. And how do we see these trainings, right? These trainings could come about during our retreats. Just so you all know, our positions are based on the academic year from June 1st all the way through May 31st. So when President Dash was mentioning that we're almost done with our position, is because we're done on May 31st. But that means that we have all summer to start building these training grounds, right? And out of these training grounds, with different people presenting at the retreats and having different presentations, also having a sense of building what we call community agreements. And community agreements are set in place as an organizer. They're set in place to make sure that there's an understanding within one another, especially if you're working with other student leaders within your campus. For instance, at Ocean Campus, there are about 19 elected student leaders, officers. And where at that Chinatown North Beach campus, there might be 4 or 5 positions. But making sure that their onboarding, part of their onboarding goes through training. And these trainings we're able to, find out who we are, what are some of our strengths, and maybe what are some of the things that we need to work on. But making sure that everyone is heard within these spaces. That's how you're able to start something academic within the academic year. Because then that's something that you have 19 officers that are also the responsibility doesn't just fall on one individual, being the chair, but it also invites and it challenges everyone to create those spaces. It's very important to make sure that we hear and listen to what students have to say, whether we want to hear it or not. That's clear, because this is their voice and we are their channel. Taking this information is very important. Creating that safe space, creating a level of understanding, that's our responsibility to make sure that we have that. And if we need guidance as far as how to do it, we have other student leaders that have been part of Associated Students for a while. We have non-associated student leaders that are partaking in different clubs and organizations on campus. We also have our advisors that can connect us to the right people that are going to be having this training. But I want to make sure that whether you're part of a council or not, you should be feeling that welcome in a space. You should be able to express your concerns within that space, because it's the only way that we're going to be able to listen to what students have to say, right? And if you don't feel welcome, and if you don't feel that there's that community base, then you're going to miss out on that input. You're going to miss out on that feedback. You're going to miss out on that very critical contribution. So, but it all starts at the foundation of having some training. And it's, even though we have 2 months left on these positions, there's still plenty of time to have something where we could have some training, like the faculty and staff, they have professional development. We could have something like that for ourselves as well.
Yes, agree. Yeah, I think it's very important to have some sort of training and have, I'm really on the side of students. I love students. I'm a student myself. When I work with my VP from RCPU, from the resource centers, I always say, because RCPUs happen to manage the internal human resource of Ocean Council, and we have that in the Ocean Codes. I always say that is there any way that we can do or make any decisions in the favor of the person who are working with us, rather than looking at just the codes and then following the codes. Because if we do that, we may not have. Our senators right now, they maybe already leave, because it's very tough to be trying to study and also trying to contribute to the community. So if we can be in any way be flexible, and that to me, I define it as one of the ways to be more inclusive. However, inclusivities have a wide range of aspects and other things that we need to touch on. So I think we need to work more on that. And I think that's very important to have solid trainings. And just because we only have 2 months in our term doesn't mean that we cannot do anything. So right after this, we will have a general council meeting. I will try my best to address the issues again. And as I always share with the VPs, that we try to keep the conversation kind and respectful. And I will keep saying that. And hopefully the masses will get across through to the senators and other people who may attend our meeting today.
Thank you for your transparency and a glimpse into perhaps your operations and vulnerability even. And Student Chancellor, thank you for your suggestion on how we can do a better job. That really point out our blind spots and gave us a 360-degree view of how we could do a better job. As much as I would like to stay on the topic, we'll have to break the session for a bit. We have pizzas waiting in the back, so let's get our well-deserved break, and we'll come back in 10 minutes.
Thank you.
Hello? Testing 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me? Testing 1, 2. Oh, I like that. All right, see. Good.
I know there's options. Usually it's like relay is one of them that needs to fills up number one and needs to go two. There's also join. So it goes like here's 264 here's 2.
out of 1, 2, and then 5, 6.
How do we rephrase that though? Because that's not really, they can't help out.
Up to you. That's your
No,
question.
what the? No, it's not. Sorry, no, like.
Why are you here then?
What? I'm honoring you with my presence. Does that make sense?
Sorry for keep everyone waiting. I think we can start now. Okay.
Right, welcome back everyone. Thank you for staying through the break. Thank you for waiting on the YouTube while we have a meal break. I hope you all enjoy the pizza back there. Let's dive back in with more engaging questions. If you have something on your mind right now, please raise your hand. We will try to slip you in together with the questions we still have left. And I see a hand raised. Please, if you could come up, introduce yourself, and you'll be ready to fire away.
Hi, y'all. Is this on? Yeah. My name is Jing. I use any pronoun. I'm a student here studying social justice and social work. I am part of multiple student organizations, as well as student worker at the math lab as a math tutor, as well as the mental health student worker at the student health services. I want to raise a couple of things and raise questions for our student leadership. First, I think bringing some context here, with some of the things that were said, these concepts of like when student bringing some ideas, the idea of resolution being brought up, I want to recognize that for many students that's inaccessible language of what a resolution is, how to get a resolution, how to write one, who should they contact, and if it takes multiple times of coming to council meeting when students have other engagement, work and life that they have to deal with, that they are huge deterrents from people being able to make those changes. I want to bring up how transphobia is more and more prevalent on campus. There are actually right now posters around campus from an individual from SF State that are not authorized to have these posters around, but spreading transphobic messages, especially during this time and around our Queer Resource Center as well. I want to bring up how Brianna Smith, our Black student leader from Umoja AARC, And Black Student Union wants to mention that there is a lack of diversity on campus leadership. So with the 2 months left and election coming up, what is being done from the current student leadership that are encouraging our less represented population to engage in student government and actually bring in the needs of the underrepresented populations and bring those needs front and center. I want to mention, thank you, Senator Estrada, who will be bringing the Free City resolution. When Free City, the program that ensures San Francisco residents receive free education, is under attack with a budget cut, that there is representation from student government as well in support of the student grassroots-led effort that are happening on the ground. I want to mention that when there are leadership representation at student events, it is also not just going and being there, but checking in with folks. How are things? How are the events going? Is the school supporting you enough? Is this council supporting you enough? I want to mention that as student leaders are here, and as a student leader myself, there is a lot of privilege that comes with these positions. There is that privilege of on the resume, of being recognized by others, of being at events that other students cannot attend, and with that privilege comes responsibility of doing the additional work to make sure student voice do get heard. And that is what I'm asking here. My question for the President and Student Chancellor and folks is, how is the leadership currently planning on making sure, inviting actually the entire student leadership, empowering, encouraging everybody to take on some work, to meeting with the students that have these needs to ensure that things like resolution or things like campus changes do happen? And second, how is the current council going to encourage more leadership to step up from our underrepresented population? So those are my two questions. I do want to recognize as an individual that I have needs as well, and I am in class and I'm running between things as students are and as leadership are. And I was also discouraged just now when I mentioned I wanted to ask when the comment would start, and I was discouraged by a member here that the door is right there and I can leave anytime. I want to say it's moments like this that discourage a student from being able to speak up again, of feeling like that my needs are not enough, that I should leave when I have other things to attend to as well. Thank you.
Yes. Well, welcome back again after this short break. Thank you, Jing, for covering a lot of points, and all these points are so critical and so vital, and we need to make sure that we're doing something about it. I think I'll start off with the lack of diversity within associated students. I want to give a lot of acknowledgement and props to Brianna for one of our student leaders for putting on a session, or they held a session, organized a session yesterday called BSU Presents Step Up, a Call to Leadership. And this, within the session, it was an open invitation to student leaders to come in and talk about representation and diversity within the structures of elective positions, not only here at Ocean, but district-wide. And so I made sure that I made that commitment and was able to attend. And one of the things that I was able to highlight is that our representation matters, and who the students, what students compose these leadership positions. We need more students that represent us, that look like us. Black, Indigenous, Pacific Islander community, student parents, LGBTIQ plus community. These are the communities that we need representation of. And unfortunately, we do not see it across, right? And particularly now where so much repression is happening all the way from the top, right? Federal programs are being cut, our communities are being under attack. In order for us to have the opportunity for folks within the communities that I just mentioned to participate, we got to make sure that we go back to what was mentioned, or what I mentioned earlier, that we need to create these spaces as a safe haven for students and students that are considering to take on these roles. If your voice is being left out because you don't feel inclusive, then that voice that carries a lot of responsibility is not heard, especially in the spaces of decision making. So it's my responsibility as a student leader to make sure that I create those spaces wherever I'm at, especially if I'm creating an agenda or facilitating a space, but making sure that I go to resource centers, groups, spaces that have an open door so I can share a little bit on why representation matters. And that's exactly how I got into leadership. I had no background in associated students, student government whatsoever, but I worked in so many different resource centers as a student that I got to connect with so many different students. And I identified that the voice of the students, the everyday student within our district, was not being represented. And so that's when I decided to run. And that needs to continue. And creating these safe spaces is the first, or a beginning step in order to happen. So thank you to Brianna for creating a space such as yesterday to do a call to leadership, and being able to have conversations there with myself, with student trustee Heather Brandt, student leader Angelica Campos, on the importance of having students representing us in these positions, right? And hopefully that sparked an interest in someone that probably didn't even know that there was an option. Right. And so one thing that I offered to do is having, throughout the spring break, having some informational sessions, just to have conversations on what it takes for students to become part of these roles, and the importance of these roles. Even though it might not seem important, they are important in the sense that when you're in a space in the San Francisco Community College District, it is important to hear the student narrative, but it is as important to make sure that the students have a voice followed or parallel with the vote, because the vote is what's going to make, that's the action that's going to make the difference, right? And we have to make sure that students that are taking on these roles are students that reflect us. I'll go ahead and pause there to see if you wanted to add anything, and then I'll cover some of the other points that you mentioned.
Thank you so much. Before I continue, I'd like to acknowledge one of our student leaders, Jing, who has been very active and vocal when we have meetings, and brought to us a lot of important and value issues and ideas and points, especially for Ocean Council. And I just want to let you know that I really appreciate you, especially for the last, we have one town hall last semester, and Jing came and shared a lot about issue-based free city, which I found very great to listen to. And just like you have other obligations, same as me. I have a very big important test tomorrow, and I was like, well, I want time for my study, but I'm here, and I'm actually like to be here to share. And I also understand on the point of view of BIMA. BIMA has been very gracious, helping us setting up all of these things and make sure that the live's running well. I know there are others tensions and stuff that causes us maybe in the midst of all the communications. So I like to take the responsibilities for not taking in the leading roles to share that what time we start exactly, so that we can save the time for everybody. So there's no tension should be created at the very first place. So I just want to acknowledge that there are certain things that we don't want to just share, but I hope that we know that people are busy and we appreciate everybody's time. Okay, I'd like to continue with the point regarding diversity. When I first got to the office and I look at everybody in the council, I say, wow, 2/3 of the councils, we are Asian. We only have 2 people in the council who's are, can I say, well, I'm not sure, but this is racist, white in the council. And we have 1 student who can speak Spanish. And I don't see any Black American students at all. Because I was a senator last general council, council, and we have at least two Black American students. So it's very important to have somebody looking like you in the table to make decisions that relate to you. So I do acknowledge that we don't have that, and we lacked of that diversity in the council. So what I'm doing and what the council, especially Ocean, is doing right now is, as you can see, today is a very good opportunity for us to tell everyone that we have the general elections coming very soon, the deadline on April 7. So please, if you think that, I am very proud of Ocean Council. I know that we are doing a good job, but we are also not doing a good job in a lot of things. But if you know that you are something who want to make changes, please apply for this. For the next general council, general elections. We also continue, we promote that on our social media. We also, today we have class visits to communicate with student body to encourage more people. Myself, I personally talk to Brianna Smith a lot of times that please get the words to the community that you are involved with so that we have more students who might be interested in running for the student government body and that they can contribute. I'm not saying that this is a pleasant journey at all. There are some ups and downs, but it's worth exploring and it's worth trying. So please come and join and make changes if possible. What else are we doing? We also share emails, but I know there are a lot of more things, more ways that we can do. So if you know, is there any other ways that we can do more to reach more students? Please let us know. So we will try to reach out and communicate with them, and and try to see if we can bring that populations, a representative from that population to share at the council. Because I myself, sitting at the chair, chairing for the general council meeting, I have the opportunity to actually listening to some 2 minutes public comments, which I find very powerful and inspiring to listen to. So I think given that, if we can invite somebody like that to enrich the experience for the council themselves, and also to make them feel more inspiring to continue to spread the word to other students, I think that can be one of the way. There might be more, but I'm not thinking, but I don't know more just right now. You can jump in.
As far as, and thank you for bringing it to our attention, as far as the act of transphobia and the act of having intentionally going to our campus community, whether it be here or anywhere in the district, and spreading transphobia in images and signs and targeting. This is a target. When it's near our location, such as the Queer Resource Center, is definitely unacceptable. And this is something that we have to be able to find the solution district-wide. See what our chancellor and see what our board of trustees members are going to do about something like this, right? For myself, being able to be present and visible and taking down something as it comes or before, or just a presence, it's one step, but we need something where it's district-wide, right? Because we do have, speaking of resolutions, we do have statements that have been addressed and passed on by the Board of Trustees on our LGBT community. Celebrations, but also where we stand and how to address this district-wide needs to come from the chancellor, needs to come from the Board of Trustees, because we as students will continue to come into these spaces and make sure that if we see something, we say something, right? But that's not enough. That's not enough, because the responsibility is not just on a space or on students, but on the whole district, right? And if we need to have, because I'm just thinking, like, what do we need, right? We need more resources for spaces like this, right? Where we can have more student workers as student lab aides, have more education. I was talking about professional development earlier, having opportunities such as professional development, workshops, and so on, and so forth and so on, regardless if you're a student or not, right? Being a community college, a California community college, we're under the public sector, so anyone is welcome onto our campus. But when you are coming onto our campus, you also have to come in with the understanding of who we are and what we represent. And it's unacceptable. So I am going to see where I can make the connection district-wide, especially because I do have that access to the chancellor and our student trustee, Heather Brandt, which is joining us via live stream, has the connection and community build with the Board of Trustees. And we'll definitely address this, and I hope to see an address district-wide coming from the top, okay? I don't know if you want to cover that. If not, I want to do the last, I feel like it's the last thing that you mentioned. Well, one of the last things that you mentioned is Free City College. Yeah. Free City College has been under attack through, and I'm not going to be very, just an overall concept of what Free City College is. If you're a student that resides in the city and county of San Francisco, you're eligible for free tuition. That means tuition is free, but there's certain things that it's not covered, right? Like student health fee, material fee, and so forth and so on. But that has been under attack by an outside factor that's not even pertaining to City College. And that has to do with the mayor and the mayor's budget on how funding has been cut in the millions, right? And this is hurting students here and potential students in the San Francisco Community College District in the county of San Francisco. So when this was identified, there has been a group of grassroots students, faculty, classified community members that have gotten together to address this issue in the form of an action. And there's the action in itself is doing a petition to collect signatures that represents San Francisco community on why it is vital for these cuts and this funding not to be taken away from City College of San Francisco, which is Free City College, or Free City, right? And these funds will ultimately help with tuition, but the work that has been done not only covers tuition, it also addresses a lot of the student basic needs, whether it be transportation, just food insecurity, and maybe you could, if I miss a point, please help me out here. Food insecurity, transportation, just the depth that students have accumulated throughout the time because of students not having the opportunity to drop within a certain deadline or being pushed out of a class after a class that exceeded the deadline to drop with 100% 100% tuition refund and so forth. So this is the work, this is the action, this is something that I support 100%. I have the opportunity and privilege to sit on the Pre-City College Oversight Committee, which is supposed to be the space that oversees how city college funding or free city funding gets accumulated. But unfortunately, it's not being respected in the sense that the mayor took away millions in funding and all in the name of the budget, right? The budget not being up to par or being in the negative, right? And so something as that, us students being informed and just your action is signing this petition and also sharing this information to other students because we have the connection with students on a one-to-one, right? And so that's a call to action for the students that are here in person and the students that are watching us live stream, signing the petition for Free City College, right? And I don't know if I missed another point that you mentioned. No? Okay. I don't know if you want to add anything.
That's very sad to hear there are certain things spreading false informations on our information board. I'm running in my head. I know that the Ocean Council, we have the list for posting board around the campus. So what I would suggest right now, and maybe later we can be in discussions for Ocean Council to take actions right away, is for us to survey the posting board and take down any information that's not officially authorized. Because as you may know, information to be, if it's officially recognized to be posted on the board, there will be a stamp to be posted. So if we see that, we can take them out immediately. And to show our support later, we can put our statement to support that we are here to support our students regardless of your race, backgrounds, and anything like that. That can be our one of immediate actions that we can do. For long-term actions, I believe we can put that in the agendas for discussions to see is there any more comprehensive, routed, holistic way that we can do to support the community. But I'm very thankful for you to bring it up, the issues to our attention. And yes, of course, today during our meeting, we will have the Free City. We have the agenda discussing Free City resolutions. So that we can put together a resolution to support a Free City program, especially also spreading the word in support for SMAC, efforts in Free City petition. I saw you passing out to gather signature right now. I actually signed on it already. So I encourage everyone, if you have a chance to look at that, please share words to your friends, to anybody who know. You don't have to receive directly benefit from Free City to know that this is beneficial. Your fellow students who are benefit to go to school because they may not be able to go to school at all without the Free City program. So if you know, and if you care, please share aside if possible if you are students. And I believe that later will be brought to the Board of Trustee meeting and then share. And if possible, please show up at Board of Trustee meeting so that you can share how important this is, the program is to you and the future generations for City College.
And this is the work that students have been focusing on. Students, community members, faculty. So no one entity, but just a community of of folks that see the importance of Free City College and how we need it now, not the other way around, taking away funds. Thank you.
Thank you to both our panelists for answering the question. First, I want to introduce myself. My name is Maya Mason. I'm the Vice President of Community Resources, and my primary role is to chair the Resource Centers and Programs Unite Committee, which supports 9 resource centers that are at least partially funded by ASCO. And I have a question from an anonymous student in the YouTube chat. It was partially addressed by both of you, and the question, so there's 2 comments. One, they want to thank Angelica and student trustee Heather Brandt about their points for creating more inclusive associated students, so students are fully representative and engaged with their community and with their students. And the second point that they wanted our panelists to address was that there have been some attacks in the QRC and during a Women's History Month and the WRC that have made the campus feel unsafe for many students. And they're wondering how associated students can address student concerns of feeling unsafe on this campus, and how can associated students work to build community here.
For all of us?
Well, it's primary, like how can we work to provide a safer campus for our students?
You more experienced than this.
So as you're thinking on how to address it within Ocean Council, this message needs to be, like I mentioned earlier, this message needs to be addressed to the Chancellor, and that's one thing that I will take on as soon as we're done with today, this town hall, addressing that, because it's something that cannot wait. It needs to be addressed. And I'm sure that student trustee Brandt will also be doing the same with the board of trustees in mind, and having, if there isn't something in place, creating something to make sure that students feel safe and welcome. And this particular instance or this particular conversation is LGBTQ students, and that transphobia or any kind of action, message, intent, or anything is not tolerated here, anywhere, not just here at City College, but this is something that we at City College could do something about.
That was very sad listening, hearing that there was an assault on campus. As the Associate Student Council of Ocean, we wasn't able to act immediately on the incidents. At that point, I remember what we shared is the campus police phone number. That's what I shared to all the members, so that if you know, or if you in the situations that you feel danger, you can contact right away. But I'm very grateful for the WRC, because they are putting together an event to raise awareness about sexual harassment. Yes. Well, the name of the event is Denim Day. What is the day again? On April 23rd? Yes. So we will be having a table link to share about the information, and also to join hands with the resource centers to raise awareness regarding the sexual harassment. So right now, those are the only 2 efforts that we did, sharing information about the campus police. Second thing is joining forces with other resource centers to raise awareness. I think I will be more open to welcome more ideas on how we can promote a safer campus, because what we all been working so hard is to make sure that this campus is a safe place for everyone to be on. And it's just very sad to hear there was an incident that sort of destroyed what we've been advocating and what we've been trying to protect. But these issues is not just an individual level issues, it's everyone issues. So if you can share or tell us more, or the audience here can tell us more ways that we can do to promote more of a respectful, safer campus, please do. Would you like to share? I have an audience.
To add, sorry?
My name is Nico De Silva. This is my third year at City College. I want to just talk about that a little bit. I see cops in their cars here, but I don't see them visually. So when you have a visual presence, it makes a big difference. I think that would make it, even not even a police officer, even like when you're on BART and you see they have people that help for mental health and so forth. They don't have weapons on them, but they're visible, they can be seen. It'll make it a deterrent to make it more safe for people to come to school and so forth. And I think the second thing too is getting opinions from us, what could be done too, because we're not in their boat. I haven't been attacked, but I remember going to home and I'm reading an alert that someone was attacked and I was pissed. I'm a student. That happened to a fellow student. So I think it's like listening and maybe even getting ideas from the students that could actually make a big difference too in helping and making this a really safe campus for all of us, you know, so that's my 2 cents.
Thank you. What was your name again?
Nico.
Nico. Thank you, Nico. Definitely, this is exactly this is why I mentioned at the beginning that I want to have the conversation. I want to make sure that we hear from you here, and this is a prime example. We want to make sure that you have the input because we don't have all the answers, okay? But I'm thinking connection, how to address this, but maybe there's something that you see, maybe there's something that you recommend that just hits something. It hits a target, it hits this, right? As far as Nico's mentioning of more police presence, we also, I'm very conscious of the communities that I come from. We don't, contacting the police is not going to be our first thing to do, because the police presence has been not in a positive way in our communities, in my community, right? But having those dialogues on like, what is it that we need to do? And there might be solutions that we haven't even, that I haven't even explored that could be happening as we speak, or addressed soon after. So I want to make sure that folks on the YouTube stream are able to engage with us at this moment, and folks here in attendance are able to share. You know, and if you're not able to come up to the mic, maybe send it, write in a piece of paper, and we'll read it off to you. We'll read it off, right? Because we don't just want us sharing, we want to hear from you.
I want to add. The first note is that many of the resource centers are going to be moving to the new Student Success Center that's being built. It's the one right by the bookstore. And after discussions with the QRC coordinator and a couple other resource center coordinators, they feel that that's going to be a bit of a safer place for them because all the resource centers are going to be housed in one spot. So there's going to be more of a community and more support there. Because currently the QRC is in Cloud Hall, where it's a little bit more remote from the other resource centers. It's farther away from campus police. And so there's a level of safety that's going to be added next year that resource centers feel comfortable with. The second thing I want to add was a personal anecdote. My first encounter with ASCO and student government was my freshman year here, and it was because I didn't feel safe on campus. I had a night class, which I don't know if you all have had night classes here at City College, but it can feel a little bit scary, especially like as a young woman, because you typically have you're probably you might be one of the only younger women in the classroom, so it might feel a little bit more unsafe. And I come to Associated Students because I saw that there's sometimes facilities issues here on campus, which I know are the administration's working to address, but a lot of lights weren't working. And for me, it felt a lot, not gonna touch the mic. For me, I would have felt a lot safer if there was just lights that were working on campus, or if I knew I could go to campus police and like have an escort to walk me to my bus stop. And so when talking about safety, I wanted to acknowledge that it's not just a policing issue, it's facilities, it's feeling support with your fellow community, not just police officers, but with your fellow classmates. And it's larger than I think Associated Students can address. We can't protect every single student on campus, but I think doing advocacy work, not just with police, with facilities, maybe even in classrooms, and encouraging students to stand up for their fellow students. I don't know, but that's just a note I want to add as a moderator. And
Does anybody want to share in the audience? And we have a microphone here in the front.
Hello, everyone. I'm not much of a speaker, but I did want to bring up the two things. The public safety, we have to acknowledge that a lot of the professors, I've had night classes as well, and one of the things that some of our professors, like Dr. Nunley, said that us as students and classmates have to help each other out as well. So we had kind of like a buddy system. We would leave together, walk each other to the buses. The safety in the campus, for me, myself, this is my third semester. I feel safer on the campus than on the bus 49 or the T-line. We have to acknowledge that it's not safe anywhere. Anywhere. The T-line, there was a stabbing like a week ago. There's issues on the 49, people smoking crack, doing drugs on the bus. Coming to school is also not safe, you know? And for someone like me who's gone through a roller coaster of my mental journey and trying to be good for my two children. I'm a recent widow, homeless or unhoused, whatever the correct verbing is, which is also stressful. Having to be told, you know, I'm not using the correct wording. I'm a little hood. I'm from the Mission. I live near the Bayview. So what I have felt that City College has given me in support, and the Student Association, because recently I have gone to a lot of the public meetings and connected with a lot of the staff from the associations and the different clubs. And I went to the Unity thing too, the family. I missed the family resource thing, but yes, putting out there the information for us to know is important. And we can't put everything on the leaders, on the people who are running the show. We have, as students, we also need to take responsibility and acknowledgement. A lot of us do have, you know, I don't want to say it, but we are like little kids. We complain and we have all these issues, but what are we doing as students to have our voices heard as well? You know, we have to take acknowledgement for our responsibilities as well. I don't like that we spend time blaming also the leaders, or let's find a solution. That's what we need to do. We have an issue, we don't know how to, maybe we do have to have an association just for that. Someone who's gonna be able to, hey, this is what we have found. Someone who's actually gonna be out there that has the time to collect the voices of the student. Because I've seen the agendas that you guys have. I've been there. I've been a manager at a hotel running systems, and it's not easy. So I do want to say thank you to the ones that are up here, putting in their time, putting in their, everybody has families. So we also have to take acknowledgement of that these leaders have families as well and have their own journeys that they're going through that we don't know. Building communities, yes, we can talk about it, but then let's do something about it, you know? Enough talking, let's do. You walk the talk, the community comes together. So thank you.
And I just wanted to note that someone from the chat, the student trustee, said please run for a student leadership position. So thank you so much for your comment, and I just wanted to let you know that someone had said that. And
I do want to mention, since we were talking about resources, I do want to make a plug, and I know there's people from that space that could talk a little bit more of the type of services that we offer. Oh, I was covering my mic. Sorry. Forgot. I'm not in a conversation. I'm live streaming. So we have student health services, and we have our health center here at Ocean Campus. And it's located, for those of you that haven't had the opportunity to visit our location, it's on campus. It's in the health center room 100, which is the first floor. If you, for the people in attendance here, it's across the street behind me on Frida Kahlo, towards the corner of Frida Kahlo and Judson. That's where Judson Student Health Center is. And some of the services that we offer are mental health services. Mental health services that we offer for students here at City College. We have professionals that have that you're able to have sessions with. I don't know the actual title, but I'm sure there's some kind of counseling, personal counseling, and so forth. And maybe I want to invite anybody from the health center here on what kind of services that we offer for students. Oh, there we go.
we're currently a little bit over time, so I think after this do we have time for one more question after this?
We could go one more question to wrap everything up.
Yeah.
Chancellor. Hi, everybody. My name is Amy Coffey, and I just happen to be very familiar with the services at Student Health, so thank you for having me come up. Yeah, we are located right across the street there. We're open in person from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Thursday. We have evening hours for counseling and mental health appointments. We do telehealth, virtual visits, and just see me if you want any more information or to make an appointment. I'm happy to connect you and give you the resources and information. But yeah, counseling is free for all students, and we also have a wide variety of medical services and licensed clinical social workers, nurse practitioners, so we're a full service clinic, and your student health fee covers all of that, so please see me, and I'm happy to help connect you, and thank you for the opportunity to share.
Okay, do we have any more questions from the public who's here in person? Do you want to address any of the questions in the chat, or do you want to wrap it up?
Do we have enough time?
We are running over time a little bit. We can wrap everything up with one question that encompasses everyone here as well as everyone in the district, which is, again, I believe this would have been partially addressed in some of the points that you may have made, but there have been repeated questions around the future of Free City program and the mental health and campus safety, which I believe have been addressed in a resounding manner by a lot of people involved today. But again, if you have any comments or closing remarks as to how you see this evolving in the future, please feel free to drop a comment. If not, we can.
A closing remark? Okay. I just want to use this opportunity to do a little bit of advertisement. We host a general council meeting for Ocean Council every Wednesday from 3:10 to 5 p.m. every week. I really appreciate you if you can come to make public comments to raise the awareness for everybody in the council. And if you want, it's your decision to. If you want to move forward with further discussions, we can put it in the agenda items to discuss. And those informations, I'll make sure to pass it to the executive council meeting so that our student leaders at the executive team, they can share it directly to the Board of Trustees. I really appreciate everybody today who come to the town hall and share your perspectives and raise the issues for us to understand and to wake us up that we only have 2 more months. We need to do more, not less, and wrap the information so that we can pass down to the next generations of the council. I want to remind everyone that we have the general elections running, deadline April 7. Please run or pass the information down to everyone who interested in running for the student position. I'm not promising you that it's gonna be a pleasure journey, but I know it's a very good experience for you to learn and grow. Last but not least, I'd like to thank our students for being here, our resource centers for being here, and the people who put this up, the R&R. Thank you so much for doing this, and especially Bima for offering us this wonderful experience with the YouTube Live. This is beyond any expectations at all. I'm very appreciated, and thank you very much.
Let me echo this thank you note. Huge thank you to Bima, especially Misha, the chair, and the team. You guys have been instrumental in pulling this off. We would not have been, this would not have been possible without you guys at all. So a round of applause to you guys. Thank you so much.
Before I do some closing thoughts, I do want to acknowledge some of the things that were in the chat, the last part. When earlier we were talking about the type of, the events that the Women's Resource Center or Project Survive are putting on right now, it's in due to sexual assault prevention. Okay, so I did want to share that. Thank you, Angelica Campos, for mentioning that. Another thought or point that our student trustee Heather Brandt mentioned was I want us to be mindful that for some members of our community, law enforcement doesn't equate to safety or a sense of safety. Going back to the Student Success Center. There are some issues with the new Student Success Center, and the student trustee Brandt sharing. There are issues with the new Student Success Center and resource centers and programs. Not everyone wants to move due to the limited space, right? Space is always a factor in the work that we do, especially if the work that you are doing in a new space is going to equate to less because of the space that is provided there. So just wanted to share that with y'all. And then of course, please run for a student leadership position there in the back. CC, thank you for that. Swing by Student Union Upper Lounge right now. Women Resource Center's open house still happening. Free burritos and community. So that's where we're going. And we have food in the back as well. Make sure that you grab some. I just want to take this opportunity to thank first and foremost the students that have expressed their concerns and addressed their narratives. These are our narratives, our everyday narratives, and for bringing them on a spotlight here is very important. And if I didn't help and address, I'll make sure that I continue working to address these issues. And when I mean addressing, it's not just handing it over to someone and saying, here, this is for you, but hey, this is for you, but the responsibility is for us students to be involved in what happens and the outcome, right? And making sure that whatever is shared and whatever is worked on, everyone gets to see it. That's how I address. And so thank you for the students that are present here and on the live stream, and for your continuing support in order for us to continue doing the things that we do as student leaders, especially for all the student leaders that are not here present with us, that are doing their student responsibility or whatever the case is. Thank you all. And thank you to definitely BIMA, the Broadcast Electronic Media Arts, for helping us create a space where this is able to reach not only the audience here, but the audience that is not able to be here. And I'm sure that we're recording, so we'll have the opportunity to share this with more students, right? And just thank you for the folks that are working in those resource centers and putting in the work that our institution, our college, should be putting in overall, but sometimes falls on the resource centers alone to do the work. Thank you all. And that's definitely where I'm going to make sure that I go to the Women's Resource Center open house after this. Once again, my name is Malinali Villalobos, serving as student chancellor. These last 2 years has been an honor. The 2 years before that, serving as student trustee. It has been an honor making sure that your voice goes wherever I go. Thank you.
Just one more very quick thank you again to BIMA. This is so cool what you guys are doing. I visited you guys twice, and I was just completely blown away by the level of professionalism and detail and care. So thank you guys so much. And I really want to thank the resource, everyone who's made public comment in support of resource centers. And the resource centers just provide so much support for students, and I think they're incredibly vital to City College. And I am very, very thankful for everyone working to make sure that they have all the support that they need. I want to thank our panelists for coming in today, President Thaksh and Student Chancellor Villalobos. You guys are wonderful, and I really appreciate the comments that you guys have made. I'm going to shout out our lovely moderator, VP Kant, for putting this whole thing together. He did great. I know he's a little bit stressed, but he did so well. Thank you so much. I apologize for going a little bit, everyone for going a little bit over time. I also believe that you had mentioned that there's the ocean codes in the back,
which
right?
has been fundamental to the operations that we do. So please let us know, how do we do? How can we do a better job? The QR code is back there. Please scan and let us know by any means how we can do a better job. And again, thank you so much for your participation.
Thank you for having
Thank you so
us.
much. Woo.